Maxie, what you doing, boy? Oh, Poochman here. I'm gonna do another video. Yay! But today's gonna be different. I'm gonna start a new segment called Storytime with the Poochman. Storytime. Now this story dates back. Gosh, how long ago? 1980. So I worked at a dealership. I worked at Alhambra. It was called Alhambra Dodge. And I worked at a dealership. And what year was it? I'm gonna say 86 or 7. 86 or 7. And I worked on the heavy line. And I was hired as an apprentice. But I basically knew more than the guy teaching me, in my opinion. But everything I did, it had to be approved by him and this and that. And he'd go out for 3-hour lunch breaks and blah, blah, blah. And so, anyway, that's not even the story. So, so one day, the tune-up department takes in this A100 van, 65, 67 A100 van. For a misfire. The guy wants a tune-up. It's misfiring and it has an oil leak. So they pull it into tune-up and they hook it all up, and come to find out it's got a dead cylinder. It's got a burnt. He guys, it's got a burnt valve, which was pretty common back then with the leaded fuel. Burnt valve. All right, shoot it over to heavy line, and then we'll take a look at the oil leak. So I get it. They toss it to me. Give it to Junior. My nickname was Junior because I am a junior. Give it to Junior. And so they toss me the key. I go out in the parking lot, drive this thing. And it's got a dead hole, obviously. And so I pull it into my stall, and I put it up on the lift. Now, before I go any farther with the story, there's I posted a picture of this thing on in Instagram, and I'll show it to you here. So you got, so it's kind of piece it together here. You ready? Okay, so that's the stories about that Instagram post. So so here we go. So I pull it on the line, I get it up on the lift, and because we're going to do, you know, he okayed a valve job. So I pull it on the lift, and I'm going to get it up in the air and get the exhaust and everything off it for a valve job. And here's what I find. .318. The rod hanging out the side of it. Now bear in mind I drove it in, and he drove it in. It was still running, and of course, obviously, there's the oil leak there, right? And so, yeah. So I grab the repair order, and I walk over to the service writer. I go, Bud, it's gonna need a bit more to valve job. Oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? You know, because I'm a rookie. What do you mean, a rookie? I said, well, it's going to need an engine. Well, how can you say that? I said, well, does a rod hanging out of the side of the pan mean anything to you? And he looked at me and he goes, what? He goes, they drove it in here. I go, yeah, I know. Go look at it. And there you go. So then the guy approved the engine, this and that, blah, blah, blah. Long story short, it got an engine. But I took the pan, I had to have the pan and the rod, and I threw it in the hot tank, and I cleaned it all up and then painted it. So I painted the inside of the pan gold, the outside Chrysler blue, and then I glass beaded the rod. I had it all hanging out like that. And I've had it ever since. I think it's just cool as heck. So it's one of those pay me now or pay me later or change your oil kind of events, you know. But check it out. That rod poked a perfect hole through there, right? I mean, it's so cool. And it was just like that. The rod cap hanging on there, everything is fantastic. And of course, you know, it busted the corner of the block off of it. So, I mean, that was spectacular. That's really that's the only Chrysler I've ever seen, well, other than a couple of Slant 6s. Very few Chryslers I've seen blow up And the Slant Sixes did the same thing. They kick a rod out, and they still run. Now, it's got a misfire. I think it needs a tune-up. But there's a rod hanging out of the side of it. So there goes my phone. So, but very few Chrysler products I've seen blown up. Chevys, all the time. There it goes. All the time the Chevys blow up. And they blow up hard. I mean, they would just buzzsaw the block almost in half. So, but anyway, that's a little story time there. How old was I? I was what, 20? I think I was 21, 22. Yeah. And I had the CUDA. I was driving the CUDA, and I remember I used to bring the CUDA into the shop there, and they would tweak it. Everybody take their hand at it and do some tweaking on it, so that. And then give it back to me. So here, try this. You think it's fast now? Try this. So it's funny. So this is they were the good old days. Actually, the good old days, where I was a young kid there, and they were always taking care of me. And but yeah, that's it. Story time's over, I suppose. What now? I plan on doing a rant video, another rant video. I guess that's it. It'll just be a quick story time. I'm not going to leave you the tip of the day because you had a story. You can ponder the story. So, yeah, no tip of the day in this segment. Okay. Well, I don't know. Maybe.